often asked when people inquire about doing beauty and makeup artistry courses what jobs are out there and what kind of a career can I have. So I wanted to just have a chat with you about the career that I've had, just to give you an idea of the possibilities that are out there in the beauty industry. So I started out when I was 18 and I did a full-time beauty therapy course with Senior College Dunleary. So that took 2 years for me, and at the end of 2 years then I was a qualified beauty therapist and I went to work in salons. Loved working in salons, did that for a number of years, but was always very attracted to working with cosmetic retail. So I started out in cosmetic retail working for Rock Cosmetics. I used to travel all around Ireland and I used to promote the brand in pharmacies, and it was very exciting. There was lots of adventures on the way. And from there I then was interviewed for Clinique Cosmetics. So my opportunity to work with Clinique came where I went full-time for Clinique as a Clinique consultant, and I went to Boots in Belfast to do that job. I was only working on the counter 3 months, and I continuously offered to help with the counter manager for the paperwork, the stock taking, and from doing that, without even realizing it, I myself was learning how to manage a counter. So my area manager had obviously been observing this unbeknownst to me, and she approached me 3 months later and she said that they were opening up Clinique in Cleary's in Dublin. So this was the first time Clinique was actually opened in Cleary's in Dublin, and they needed a counter manager. So I was then promoted to be the manager of that account, and I came back to Dublin and I worked there for a year and a half where I promoted the business, was responsible for the team, the merchandising, the customer service, the stock control, and I loved it. So one of the days I was standing on the counter, and I'm not sure if you're aware, but half of the cosmetic companies in the world belong to Estée Lauder Group. The other half belong to the L'Oreal Group. So the Estée Lauder manager had come over from Scotland and he was visiting the Irish area manager, and he just popped over to the Clinique counter. Now Estée Lauder is a mother company of Clinique. So he just had a chat, asked how was business going. So I explained that we had worked with the fashion department and we had done makeovers and our colour was going very well, that we had a foundation sampling event because people are so concerned obviously to get the foundation correct with their skin tone. So we were focusing on that. But our men's care back in 1993 was very, very weak because the men didn't quite look after themselves the way they do now. So we had a chat about business in general, and I thought no more about it, and the man went away and he approached my area manager with Clinique and he said, well, I'd like to hire that girl, we're going to poach her. He had to ask permission, and I then became the National Business Development Manager for Estée Lauder for Ireland at the age of 24. So my job then involved traveling around Ireland to all of the big department stores and basically guiding other counter managers as to how to manage their team, to look after their customers, product training, makeover training and merchandising, and basically show them how to do their jobs and help them develop their own businesses. So I did that for just over a year, and then at that time Brown Thomas in Dublin, that you know today, was a store called Switzer's, and where Marks and Spencer's is in Dublin, that was the original Brown Thomas. So the two department stores were merging, and they had two counter managers of two Clinique accounts, but they needed a manager that could lead a bigger team, and that was me. So I was invited back by Clinique to take over as business manager for Clinique and Brown Thomas in Dublin. So I started out with a team of only 5, and 4 years later I had a team of 12. We were the 8th largest account in the UK and Ireland. We were the first account in Ireland to take over £1 million in 1 year. So you can imagine the amount of business. It was so exciting, the times. There was so much to learn. Developing the team, we just used to love working with the brand and working with customers, and we had huge events in Brown Thomas, so it was very exciting times, and it really taught me a lot about not only makeup and training but also about managing and how to organize yourself properly so that you can achieve what you're setting out to achieve. So I eventually then realized that training was more the area that I'd like to get into. So I went to work for Yardley Cosmetics as the product trainer for Ireland. So I was delighted with myself. I was 28 years of age. I now have my first Monday to Friday job, my first company car, and I'm now on the road and I am a trainer. So I'm in my job probably 3 months, and Yardley unfortunately went into receivership, which was very sad. It was such a nice company to work for. So from that, I excelled on to work for Lancome Cosmetics. So that was really my big break, when through the downside of losing my job at Yardley, it actually propelled me to work for Lancome. And I worked for Lancome for nearly 4 years, and I was an area manager for practically half of Ireland. It was 40 accounts in Ireland. They had it split in two. So I was in charge of everywhere from Dublin to Galway and north of there, bar Northern Ireland. So I used to have to travel into all of the pharmacies nationwide. My job was to train the staff, to go through new products, to help them with their paperwork, to look at merchandising, window displays, run local events with them. And when I did that for the number of years, then I actually decided that I was going to do something a little bit different. So I challenged myself and I went to work for a nutritional company. So I was with that company for a year, and my job was sales and marketing manager for nutritional supplements, because I've always had an interest between biology and skincare and beauty and nutrition, and I suppose for me they all married together, so it was just doing something a little bit different. So from there I went on. I was approached by Bradley's Pharmacy Group, and I became an area manager for Bradley's Pharmacy Group. And then I went on to be the National Sales and Marketing Manager for Skin Doctors and NSI for Ireland. And it was a wonderful company to work with. Robert and his wife Louisa are lovely people to learn and work beside with. So from working with Robert, he gave me a great opportunity to see how to run your own business, that it can be done, because it was not something I ever dreamt I could do myself. And I just thought, watching Robert and Louisa and how much they achieved, why not me? Now, Robert was so helpful in helping me to make my move, because I made a decision that year that I was going to go and work for myself. So in that year, I took a week off and I said, this is the week I'll decide what I'm going to do. So when I decided to open Beauty Academy, at that point I had no premises, no teaching qualification, no money, no products, no accreditation. So it was a huge task. So I started off the journey, and that was June in 2005. By November 2005, the doors were open, and Robert and Louisa were very supportive when I started that journey, because I was continuing working for them in a sales and marketing role while I was busy every weekend and every evening then trying to set up my own business. So I'm now 12 years today in business with Beauty Academy, and since then I have gone back and finished an honours degree in training and education. I have done a certificate in digital marketing and digital media management, and this year looking to go back to do accounting technician. So very much in the last 12 years it has been progressive. It's all about forwarding your education, what you're going to do next. But the opportunities within this industry are huge, and I think looking at me starting at 18 years of age, qualifying at 19 as a beauty therapist, you can see that anything is achievable. It's really down to you and what you want to do with your future. So I wish you all the best of luck with your decision making in the future. And if ever you want to have a chat with me, whether you're qualified in the industry or whether you're considering coming into the beauty industry, I'm only more than delighted to share my knowledge and experience with anybody that needs a help. Thank you.